this is the default view in Forma. Nothing is loaded. We have the option to add a product. We can load it from file. If you want to load an external file like an FBX, a CAD, or a CAD file, we can also load it from the project if we already have products inside this project. What I'm using here to speed things up is this panel that I just drag into view. This is the profile manager. Very useful. It has a lot of the settings for the configurator. And what I'm doing here is I already imported this chair, which is hasn't been prepared at all. It's just the raw chair, and I'm just dragging it inside the profile manager. And now it's in my scene. As you can see, it's not the prettiest thing, but I wanted to illustrate that this is really the raw data. This is a 3D model that we purchased online of a chair. There's nothing special about it. It's not the best quality, but it's illustrative of a sample file that you might be working with, right? The format doesn't necessarily require very polished model to get productive and to actually create a configurator. So this is how we import data inside Forma. Usually it's set up correctly if the product has been designed properly. I mean, by that, I mean that, the center is, at 0, 0, 0. So things line up in 3D space. There we go. And now I'll go back to my perspective view. This is not broken. There's multiple options for the seat. There's actually 2 options for the seat. If I open here the product outline, we can see that the seat has 2 options. There's a one that has no upholstery and one that's upholstered, right? The green part, the beige part is without any padding or fabric. And then we have 3 legs. It's not a crazy amount of legs like this. Is going to be very practical as a chair, but we have all the options visible right now, right? So let's go back to the deck. Now I'm going to be creating variants, right? So variants are basically permutation for the product. And here, if I select this, we can see that this product comes with actually 6 materials. These are, for example, red for the metal base, green, blue for these caster wheels, right, for the rubber part. We have green for the fabric, beige for the plastic composite shell. And then there's the last one, which we can't really see very clearly, which is here. This is the metal parts for the chair. There's a couple of pieces which have a separate material. So I could click this and drag it over to set up a variant for this material, right, to be able to add other proper materials to this object. But all I'm going to do now is much simpler. I'm going to grab the chair from directly the product outline, drag it here, and Forma is smart enough to tell me, hey, by the way, you just drag this. What do you want to do, right? I see the 6 materials that could be a variant, or we can do a visibility variant set, right? So I'm going to do materials. And wait, and there we go. Forma created a material variance for me for each of the sets of materials that were included inside the model, right? And I can see here that this is the chair-based metal, for example, and I can see inside the viewer that this is the red color that came with the model. As I mentioned before, what I could do here, for example, is make this a little bit clearer. So I am going to switch the variant name, right? So let's copy this actually. I'll drop it here. So here I can rename. So this is basically base finish, right? This is the caster rubber. This is the wheels. So we call those, for example, sorry, which one is that? Oh yeah, this is the metal. Let's call that metal parts. This is our fabric. So this is going to be upholstered finish. Quickly rename these. And then here we have the stitch. So that's a separate object that represents that little stitch here that we can see. And again, I'm going to rename it for the sake of clarity to Stitch. And finally, this is the seat plastic, which is the non-upholstered version of the seat. So let's just non-upholstered, and let's call this finish. There we go. So now we have a little bit of clarity as to what these material variant sets are. Let's do, I'm going to close this off first. And then let's do a visibility variant, right? So these are basically, I have 3 options for the legs and 2 options for the tops. So I'm going to select the 2 options for the seat tops and just drag them over. And Forma is going to tell me, hey, I see you are dragging things. Is it a material variant or a visibility variant, or do nothing? So I want visibility variant here, and there are 2 variants inside this set, right? So there we go. And here now we have basically, these are the seat options, right? So let's rename it so it's clear what we are doing. So seat options, there we go. If I could type, that'd be better. Sorry about that. There we go. And again, I can also rename these to be a little clearer, right? Here is this is the one that is currently visible, which is the unupholstered version, and this is the upholstered version. So now we can see that they don't conflict anymore. They're on separate layers. So when I double click, or I can press the space bar also, if I want to use the keyboard, this whole window is navigable with the keyboard also, if you want, if you are keen on that. So this is going to be basically upholstered. Sorry, forgot to, there you go. And this is non-upholstered, right? Let's go back. Yeah, correct. Now we're going to do the same thing for the legs. So we don't have all those crazy legs visible. Yes, this is a visibility variant. And yes, there are 3 of them. Please add them. And there we go. And now, as you can see, our chair has only 1 set of legs visible. And we can see each of them. So these are going to be, for example, base options. And the first, I would like this one to be the first one. So I can just drag it up here, for example. There we go. And now I give them name, which will indicate what they are. This is just the swivel. If I go to this one, for example, this is a swivel with casters, super exciting. And if I go to this one, this is, I have it here typed, so I don't have to do it manually. That'll be faster. There we go, Control A. And this is height adjust. Exactly, we have the little lever here with casters. So there we go. Now, this is fine. And actually, if we want, we can jump into our camera quickly. Because I added the object, you can see this is going to be the default camera view when we start the experience. I want the camera to orbit precisely around this object. So here in the Advanced tab, I can select this, drag it into the follow, and now you can see my camera kind of recentered on the object, right? And if I go back to play, we should be, give it a second. We should be viewing, Forma is going to load up my product and also provide me with a default interface so I can start working with my variants, right? This is built into Forma. As long as you add the product variant, it will generate this interface, which is entirely customizable, obviously. But here I can see my base option and I can select which one is visible, right? So we can start sharing, being productive, same with the seat option, right? I can go to the non-upholstered or upholstered. Actually, I kind of like that design with the beige share and the red legs. I'm partial to red. We can also collapse the interface to put this in full screen. And as I mentioned, this is entirely customizable.